Have you ever found peace by surrendering instead of trying to control the outcome? Share your experience. What's one thing you're holding on to that's been stealing your peace? And what would it feel like to let it go? Where in your life are you resisting reality? And how would your life change if you accepted it instead of fighting it? What's one expectation you can release today to feel lighter and freer? If peace meant letting go instead of holding on, what would you choose to release first? You're not exhausted from work or daily life. You're drained from investing your energy into things that don't give anything back. The truth is, the moment you stop trying to control everything to feel at peace, peace quietly arrives in your stillness. If you've ever lost sleep over someone else's opinion, replayed the same conversation in your head, or let the weight of meaningless judgments crush you, this message is for you. Ask yourself this: what if your unhappiness stems from caring deeply about things that were never worthy of your care? Today we're facing a hard truth that many spend their lives avoiding. You've made quiet chaos feel normal, constantly overthinking, over-explaining, and overextending yourself. But what if I told you that real freedom lives on the other side of letting go? Stay with me, because if there's one thing I hope you take from this, it's this: your peace begins where your need for validation ends. And at the end of this message, there's a powerful bonus insight you won't want to miss. What's one thing in your life right now that you've been resisting, and how would your peace grow if you simply accepted it instead? Lesson 1. Why you react to everything. Picture your mind as a mirror. When it's clear, it reflects reality just as it is. But every comment, every glance, every opinion that unsettles you leaves a smudge. And suddenly, you're not seeing reality anymore. You're seeing your pain, your wounds, your expectations. Buddhist wisdom teaches, you will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. The emotional chaos you feel isn't always caused by the world itself. It's your attachment to how you wish the world would behave. And the more tightly you cling to that illusion, the more it hurts when reality doesn't match. So ask yourself, why does every little thing feel like it needs your reaction? Why does a passing remark from someone you barely care about echo louder than your own inner voice? The answer isn't out there. It's in here, inside you. You don't react because the world is harsh. You react because some part of you expects it to be gentler, more fair, more aligned with your script. But that expectation, that's the illusion. Each time someone challenges your beliefs, misunderstands your intentions, or questions your choices, the battle doesn't begin with them. It begins within. What you're really defending isn't truth. It's the ego, the part of you desperate to be right, to be accepted, to feel safe. But here's where the shift begins. What if you paused? What if instead of reacting, you allowed a breath, a sacred space between stimulus and response? That brief silence, that stillness. That's where peace is born. Mindfulness isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the quiet power to say, I see the fire, but I choose not to burn. In Buddhist practice, that pause, it is everything. The mirror doesn't fight the fingerprint. It simply waits for stillness to restore clarity. So next time you're triggered, don't rush to react. Ask yourself, what belief am I protecting right now? Is it the need to be liked, the fear of being disrespected, the compulsion to explain yourself? Because when you trace your reactions to their roots, you'll find that the storm was never outside. It was always within. Try this. When discomfort rises, sit with it. Let the emotion pass through without clinging to it. Don't become the feeling. Observe it. The less you depend on others to validate you, the more grounded you become in your own truth. Detach, not because you're numb, but because peace matters more than being understood by everyone. Stop bleeding for people who wouldn't even offer you a bandage. Free your nervous system from the weight of every careless word. Remember this: not everything deserves your energy. Not every opinion requires your response. The less you react, the more you reflect. The less you chase approval, the more you embody peace. In the end, it's not about what was said. It's about whether your mirror stayed clean. You don't need to control the world. You only need to master the moment between trigger and reaction. That moment, that's where your true freedom lives. Lesson 2. The invisible traps that control you. You may believe you're free, but look again. Your mind might still be dancing to strings you can't see. Strings of fear, approval, and control, subtly guiding your thoughts and choices until you've forgotten what stillness, what true peace, even feels like. Buddhism doesn't ask us to escape the world. It asks us to wake up from our illusions about it. As the Buddha said, it is not the chains on your feet that bind you, but the ones around your mind. These mental traps don't scream, they whisper. They disguise themselves as duty, as ambition, as perfectionism. But behind the mask, they're rooted in fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being unseen. Fear of losing control. You check your phone, not out of care, but out of anxiety. You say yes when you mean no, afraid to disappoint. You post, you perform, you pretend, not for joy, but for validation. So many of your actions are reactions to invisible strings. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most suffering doesn't come from what happens to us, but from the stories we tell ourselves about it. You weren't hurt because they ignored you. You were hurt because you expected to matter. You weren't drowning in work. You were drowning in the need to prove your worth through it. That's the trap. And it holds you hostage in a loop until exhaustion feels normal. But imagine this. What if you could see the string before it pulls you? What if you could say, this is my need for approval? Or, here comes the overthinking again. Just naming the trap starts to break its spell. Because once you see the string, you can choose to cut it. Minimalism isn't just about owning fewer things. It's about caring less about what doesn't matter. Emotional minimalism is choosing not to feed every fear, not to respond to every opinion, not to chase every urge to explain yourself or solve every what if. These are just strings, and when you stop dancing to them, you start to live on your own terms. Ask yourself gently, what silent trap is draining my peace today? Why am I still clinging to it? Is it the fear of being rejected, the illusion of control, the craving for certainty? When you let go of control, something beautiful happens. Clarity flows in. You stop reacting. You begin responding. You stop absorbing. You start observing. You weren't born to impress. You weren't born to perfect every detail of your life. You were born to wake up, to untangle yourself from these invisible expectations and reclaim your joy. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to control everything, you gain control over yourself. And that's when happiness stops being a pursuit. It becomes your resting place. So cut the strings. Let your mind be still. You're not a puppet. You're the master. You just forgot for a little while. Lesson 3. When you stop caring, this happens. You hold on so tightly, gripping for control, grasping for approval, clinging to expectations, as if your happiness depends on managing every outcome. But have you noticed? A clenched fist can't receive anything, not peace, not love, not freedom. Buddhist wisdom teaches this powerful truth. Letting go is the doorway to freedom, and freedom is the soil where happiness grows. It sounds like a paradox. How could caring less bring more peace? But maybe peace was never something to be earned. Maybe it was something buried beneath all the forcing, the fixing, the needing. Think about it. Every time you try to fix someone, rescue a situation, or control how others see you, you don't break because you're weak. You break because you're carrying what was never yours to hold. You weren't made to hold the world together. Some people, some outcomes, some moments. They're meant to pass through you, not stay lodged in your nervous system. If you truly want peace, stop feeding the illusion that you need to manage everything. Let go of needing to be liked. Let go of needing to be understood. Let go of needing things to unfold perfectly. Peace doesn't come from fixing others. It comes from freeing yourself. Imagine this, your mind as a fist, tight, anxious, closed. Now open it. That's what letting go feels like, not defeat. Space, room for breath, room to just be. When you stop caring about the noise, you begin to hear your soul again. And what it softly says is, you weren't made to live in tension. Practice this every day. Start small. Don't reach for your phone the moment you wake up. Don't respond to every message pulling you into drama. Don't explain yourself to someone who's already decided not to understand you. Just pause. Just breathe. Just let go. The world won't collapse, but your inner chaos might finally begin to settle. Ask yourself right now, what am I gripping too tightly? Is it a person, an outcome, a belief about who I should be, and what would happen if, just for today, you loosened your grip? What if your worth wasn't something to prove? What if your value had nothing to do with hustle, approval, or performance? Buddhism reminds us, suffering doesn't come from loss. It comes from our attachment to what we're afraid to lose. The more you cling, the more you suffer. But the moment you loosen your hold, you begin to float. You begin to trust life again. And that trust leads you home. The less you give your energy to what drains you, the more you have for what lifts you. You weren't meant to react to everything. You weren't meant to fix everything. Sometimes, healing isn't about fixing, it's about releasing. The moment you let go, peace walks in. Stop gripping, start living. Happiness doesn't arrive when you finally catch it. It arrives when you finally allow it. Lesson 4. The mindset shift that changes everything. You're not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them. But somewhere along the way, you forgot. You started living as if you were the storm, spinning, crashing, unraveling. Yet in truth, you've always been the sky. Still, present, unmoved. Buddhism teaches this simple, liberating shift. Don't believe everything you think. Thoughts are not truths. They are just visitors, passing clouds in the vast sky of your awareness. But when you forget this, you become a prisoner of your mind, reacting, overthinking, spiraling through fear, shame, and anxiety. As if every thought were a command, every emotion a fact. Imagine this. A dark cloud drifts in. It's heavy, full of thunder. But the sky does not resist. It doesn't panic. It simply allows the cloud to pass. This is the shift. You don't need to stop the storm. You just need to stop identifying with it. Stop saying, I am anxious. Say instead, anxiety is visiting me. Don't whisper, I'm not enough. Notice, that's just a thought, not the truth. This is the essence of mindfulness. Meditation doesn't silence your thoughts. It teaches you to witness them, to greet them with awareness and let them move on, instead of building a home inside you. Each time, your mind spins its stories. They don't respect me. I'll never succeed. What if I fail? Remember this, you don't have to pick them up. You don't have to chase them, just notice. Name, release. Tell yourself gently, the mind is doing what it does, and that's okay. Overthinking only has power when you give it fuel. Most of what you fear never comes true. Most of what you replay in your head never needed solving. So why carry every thought as if it were yours to fix? Ask yourself, what if thoughts only had power if I gave them belief? Would I still carry them all? Here's the truth. Thoughts will come. Emotions will rise, but none of them define you. You are the observer, the witness, the stillness beneath it all. The more you return to that role, the less chaos you absorb. Peace doesn't begin when life is quiet. Peace begins the moment you become quiet. Within. Next time the mind swirls with noise, pause. Breathe. Watch your thoughts like clouds drifting across the sky. No judgment, no clinging, just presence. The sky doesn't fight the storm, it waits. And every storm, eventually, passes. If you want clarity, create space. If you want peace, stop trying to fix every thought. Then just let them float. This is detachment, not coldness, but wise care. A refusal to give energy to what doesn't matter. Slowly, this becomes your power. You stop drowning in the waves, because you remember, you were never the ocean, you were always the sky. You don't need to silence the storm. You only need to remember, you are not the storm. You are the sky that watches it pass. Lesson 5. Do less, but better. You're not exhausted because you've done too much. You're exhausted because much of what you're doing doesn't matter. Your energy is being scattered, poured into endless checklists, draining conversations, and tasks that keep you busy, but not fulfilled. Buddhism doesn't praise the hustle, it honors the present moment. As the Buddha said, one word spoken with true intention brings peace. The same is true of your actions. One thing done with clarity is worth more than 100 done in chaos. Imagine your mind as a bow, every thought, every obligation, every distraction. It pulls the string tighter. But if you're shooting arrows in every direction, none will reach the mark. Clarity doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less, but better. When you stop multitasking your existence, you begin to experience it. Distraction is not just the enemy of focus, it is the thief of depth. You cannot be fully in this moment if your mind is already chasing the next one. So here's your quiet revolution. What are your essential 3? 3 things, just 3, that matter today, emotionally, spiritually, practically? Name them, tend to them. Let the rest go. Because not everything deserves your energy. Not every task is sacred. Some things are just noise pretending to be important. And every time you say yes to that noise, you are saying no to your peace. We've been taught that success is doing more. But mastery is doing less with more presence. It's not about conquering the day. It's about showing up, fully, to the few things that truly count. Imagine this shift. Wake up tomorrow with one intention. Only tend to what feeds your peace, your growth, or your soul. That email, it can wait. That meeting, maybe it doesn't need you. That person who constantly drains you. You can step back, quietly, firmly, lovingly. Doing less isn't laziness. It's wisdom, it's discipline. The discipline to guard your life force, and to stop giving it away in pieces to things that do not return your peace. And when you begin to live like this, the fog lifts, the chaos settles, your purpose sharpens. You stop spinning in circles and start walking a path with intention. So ask yourself now, What can I release today to reclaim my energy? What would it feel like to stop being busy and start being aligned? Because maybe true success isn't finishing everything. Maybe it's feeling whole, even while doing less. You were not made to chase it all. You were made to move with clarity. Like a single arrow, drawn slowly, aimed with purpose, precise, powerful, peaceful, do less, but better. A focused life isn't smaller, it's deeper. And that's where your power has always been waiting. Lesson 6. Let go of the inner drama. There's a storm in your mind, not always loud, but always swirling. And most days, you think the only way out is to fight it, to overanalyze, replay, rehearse, fix. But what if peace isn't found in doing more, but in stepping back? The Buddha reminded us, do not seek peace outside yourself. Yet how often we chase it in control, in explanations, in trying to fix what was never broken. Here's the deeper truth. Most of your pain isn't from what's happening. It's from the story you tell about what's happening. Life gives you facts. The mind spins them into fiction. Someone sends a short message, and suddenly you're writing a mental script. They're upset. I messed up. Something's wrong. But pause. Was there truly a problem? Or did your mind cast you as the villain, the victim, or the fixer? In a story that doesn't even exist, our thoughts are master storytellers. And without awareness, we become loyal audiences to dramas that steal our peace. Become the silent witness. This is what Buddhism teaches with radical clarity. You don't have to wrestle the storm. You only need to witness it. Let your thoughts rise and fall like waves on the shore. No chasing, no clinging, just watching. You don't have to fix every feeling. You don't have to react to every thought. You can simply ask, is this real, or just a story I'm feeding? That single question creates space, a sacred pause between you and the noise. And in that space, something beautiful begins. Peace enters. The fire begins to dim. The storm begins to soften. Why? Because thoughts lose power when you stop feeding them attention, respond less, reflect more. The next time your peace is disturbed, don't spiral, don't react, just pause, watch. You'll see your mind rush to blame, predict, panic, let it. But don't follow. You are not your thoughts. You are the space in which those thoughts rise and fall. The more you observe, the more you realize. The drama was never about the world. It was about your attachment to how the world should be. True peace isn't a reward for fixing everything. It's the result of no longer needing everything to be fixed. Let the mental movie fade. What if you made it your quiet practice today to let go of just one mental movie? The one that's playing loudest, the one that keeps looping, telling you who you need to be or what went wrong. Let it play, but don't act in it. Don't narrate it. Don't grip it. Just observe it. Let it fade. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is nothing at all. No reaction, no explanation, no performance, just presence. The storm inside you, it will pass. But only if you stop standing in the rain, trying to fight the weather. You were never meant to be the actor in every inner drama. You were meant to be the sky, still, silent, watching. And in that space, you remember who you are, the peace beneath the story, the stillness behind the storm. Lesson 7, stay open, pain arrives. Unexpected, uninvited, and your first instinct is to shut down, to contract, to guard, to brace. But here's the paradox. Healing doesn't happen in the closing. It happens in the staying open. The heart, like a flower, doesn't bloom by avoiding the rain. It blossoms through it. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, you only lose what you cling to. But clinging doesn't always look like attachment. Sometimes it looks like silence, like pretending, like building walls instead of bridges. We think if we close fast enough, we won't feel the pain. But pain isn't the enemy. Resistance is. Softening where you were taught to flinch. Think back to the last time you were hurt. Emotionally, spiritually. Did you fold in on yourself? Did you retreat, armor up, numb out? That's human. That's survival. But it's also where the real suffering begins. Because the wound itself hurts once. But the closing? That pain echoes. What if true strength isn't found in tightening your grip, but in softening your hold, not in putting on armor, but in letting yourself be seen, even when it stings? Staying open doesn't mean you let the world walk over you. It means you choose not to shut down where life has hardened you. It means choosing presence over protection. Breathe into the closing. Next time your chest tightens, pause. Don't run. Don't numb. Just ask gently, where am I closing right now? Is it fear? Is it shame? Is it the story that pain always means danger? Now breathe. Breathe into that space, not to fix it, just to feel it. To remind your body that feeling isn't fatal, it's freeing. Openness is emotional resilience. We think shutting down keeps us safe, but it only cages us. In past wounds, in old stories, in assumptions that don't serve us anymore. True safety is found in presence, and presence requires openness. When your heart stays open, you're not inviting pain to stay. You're allowing it to pass through without making a home in you. You stop absorbing every wound. You stop becoming every discomfort. You start flowing instead of freezing. This practice is subtle, but it will shift your life. When someone disappoints you, stay open. When your expectations collapse, stay open. When grief rises, breathe. That is your strength. To stay soft is to stay strong. Let yourself feel. Without becoming the feeling, let yourself bend without breaking. This is emotional resilience, to be soft enough to feel and strong enough not to close. Every time you stay open, even just a little, you're telling your nervous system, I am safe enough to stay soft. That's not weakness. That's unshakable courage. One final question. So ask yourself, where am I closed? What part of me is still hiding behind old pain? And then, even if it's just for one breath, let it open. Because the heart that stays open doesn't break. It expands. It becomes a vessel not just for love, but for life itself. Lesson 8. Cut the rope of expectations. You wake up hoping for kindness, a word, a gesture, some sign that the world sees you, hears you, values you. But it doesn't come, and suddenly your spirit deflates, not because life is cruel, but because you are holding a silent thread, an expectation. Expectations are invisible ropes we tie around people, outcomes, even our own worth. We think they tether us to hope, but more often they slowly strangle our peace. The trap of the should Buddhism teaches attachment is the root of suffering and expectations. They're just refined attachments to how others should act, how life should unfold, how we believe happiness should arrive. But life isn't a script. It's a river, flowing, wild, unrepeatable. The more you try to direct its current, the more exhausted and resentful you become. The pain isn't in the event. It's in the mental movie you wrote. They should have remembered. They should have responded differently. By now I should be further along. Every should is a rope, and every rope burns. The illusion of control, picture this. You're standing at the edge of a cliff, clutching a thick rope. On the other end, a massive stone marked how life should be. The rope cuts into your palm, You're bleeding energy, but instead of letting go, you think, maybe if I hold tighter, it'll hurt less. But here's the truth. Freedom doesn't come from gripping harder. It comes from letting go. Let them be. Let life be. Let yourself be. What if just for today, you dropped the rope? What if you allowed people to be exactly as they are? Not perfect, not polished, but real. What if you released your job from the burden of validating you, released your partner from the pressure to complete you, released your past from the impossible task of rewriting itself? Letting go of expectations isn't giving up. It's giving in to what is. And in that surrender, you don't lose power. You reclaim it. The practice of release. Start small. When you feel tension, resentment, irritation, pause. Ask yourself, what rope am I holding right now? Can I cut it? Breathe. Let it go. Not because they've changed, but because you deserve peace. Each rope you cut frees your spirit from the lie that life must meet your conditions for you to feel whole. Where peace really lives. Here's a secret most never learn. Peace doesn't arrive when everything is perfect. It arrives when you no longer need it to be. Say it aloud and mean it. This moment is enough. I am enough. They are enough, as they are. Because the rope you cut today may be the one that's been silently choking your joy for years. Let go, and let yourself breathe again. Lesson 9. Practice non-attachment, not indifference. You can love deeply and still let go. You can care from the core of your being without clinging. Non-attachment is often misunderstood. People mistake it for distance, coldness, or apathy. But it's not about shutting down. It's about showing up clearly, without confusion between love and control. There's a sacred difference between holding someone's hand and squeezing so tightly that neither of you can breathe. The gentle cup of the heart. Picture this. You're holding water in your palm. If you cup it gently, it rests there, still, clear. But if you try to grip it, it slips right through. That's the quiet wisdom of non-attachment. Buddhism reminds us to understand everything is to forgive everything. And in that forgiveness, we release our grip. Not because it didn't matter, but because we finally understand it was never ours to control. Attachment disguised as love. Ask yourself honestly, what if the pain in your chest isn't from love, but from attachment disguised as love? We confuse presence with possession. We mistake care for control. We fear loss so deeply that we start to hold things hostage instead of holding them sacred. But true connection isn't built on permanence. It's built on presence. Can you be with someone fully, deeply, and not demand they stay forever? Can you love this moment without needing to capture it? The courage to let go. Non-attachment begins here, not in withdrawing from life, but in embracing it without the hunger to keep it. There's a quiet strength in saying, I appreciate this moment, even if it never comes again. That's not weakness. That's emotional liberation. Clinging doesn't keep things safe. It suffocates. It cages what's meant to be free. Non-attachment whispers, I can be fully present and still be whole if it ends. The space where peace grows. Look at your life, your relationships, your goals, your identity. What are you still holding that's too heavy for your soul? A role you've outgrown, a person who's already moved on, a version of yourself that no longer breathes. Can you love it, honor it, and let it float away? Gently, peacefully, when the time comes? That's not detachment, that's maturity, that's freedom. Connection without chains. Non-attachment is not indifference, it's the opposite, it's deep care. Without emotional enslavement, it's the ability to love without losing yourself. to listen without needing to fix, to hold space without needing to possess it. You stop gripping, and in that release your heart expands. Suddenly there's room for presence, for peace, for joy not based on control. Your freedom begins here. So ask yourself gently, what am I clinging to in fear that I could be holding in love? What if the most loving thing you could do today was to let go? Because non-attachment is not the absence of love. It's the absence of fear. The fear that if you let go, you will lose something essential. But here's the truth. What is meant for you will never require you to grip it in fear. Let go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because you do. Let go, so your love can breathe. Let go, so you can. Lesson 10. Stop performing for the world somewhere along the way. You were handed a script, a role to play, and day after day, you've performed, smiling on cue, nodding at the right moments, molding yourself to fit an image you never chose. But what if, just for today, you stopped? What if you laid down the role, removed the mask, and simply were? The quiet cost of performance. The world teaches you to hustle for worth, to seek applause like air, to earn love by being likable, to deserve belonging by being better, always better. But this performance comes at a cost. With every act, you trade a piece of your truth for someone else's approval. And the tragedy is not that the world demands it. It's that you start believing you are only worthy when they clap. You are not the role. Buddhism reminds us, drop the illusion. You are not the mask. You are the watcher behind it. You are not the role. You are not the costume. You are not the edited version of yourself. You post online to earn hearts. You are the one beneath it all, the quiet soul, longing not to be impressive, but to be real. The freedom of enough. Imagine waking up and not thinking, I should be more successful, I should be more attractive, I should be more spiritual. All these should, chains dressed as ambition, but truth doesn't live in should. It lives in silence, in stillness, in the moment you look in the mirror and whisper, this is enough. You don't have to be more. You just have to be you. Unperformed, unpolished, whole. Living for truth, not applause. Ask yourself, who am I trying to impress today? A parent? A boss? Strangers who scroll past your life without knowing your name? What would happen if you stopped performing for them? What would shift if you lived for truth instead of applause? The world's validation is like chasing clouds, but the peace of being yourself, that's solid ground. Drop the script. You weren't born to follow a script. You were born to write your own. When you stop performing, you stop living in reaction. You start choosing, not from fear, but from clarity. You say what you mean. You feel what you feel. You rest when you're tired, not when you've earned it. You reclaim the moments you used to spend pretending, and you pour them into presence. The true. You is enough. This isn't about abandoning growth. It's about anchoring it in truth. You can still evolve, still stretch and strive, but from a place of love, not from a need to prove your existence. When you live from within, you stop shrinking to fit molds that were never made for you. You stop editing your voice to echo someone else's expectations. And something sacred happens. You become whole again. The performance ends here today. Ask yourself gently, if I didn't need applause, who would I become? And then become it. Not with noise, but with honesty. Because when the performance ends, your real life begins. Not the life curated for approval, but the one that feels like home. Stop performing. Start being. And you'll find you were never too much. You were never not enough. You were simply waiting to be seen by yourself. Lesson 11. Reclaim your attention. There is a quiet power in where you place your gaze. Your attention is not a small thing. It is your life force. Where it goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your reality takes shape. So ask yourself, what am I giving my life to today? The currency of awareness. In a world that profits from your distraction, focus is a revolutionary act. Every ping, scroll, headline, and highlight reel competes for your mind. But here's the truth no one teaches. Your attention is sacred. It is the lens through which you see, and what you see, you become. The garden of the mind, imagine your attention as sunlight. Wherever you shine it, things grow. If you shine it on anxiety, it flourishes. If you shine it on anger, it expands. But if you choose, consciously, gently, to shine it on peace, on breath, on presence, then serenity grows in you like a garden. Buddhism teaches the mind is everything. What you think, you become. So ask again, what are you watering? Returning to the still point, there is a still point within you. A quiet, spacious place, untouched by noise. But to return there, you must first step away from the chaos you've normalized. Reclaiming attention is not a luxury. It's a spiritual practice, a reclaiming of self. Each time you turn away from the noise and back to your breath, you whisper to the world, I am not yours to consume, unfollow, to unfold. Start simply. Unfollow what drains you. Unsubscribe from what distorts you. Unplug from what no longer honors your peace. This isn't rejection, it's realignment. It's not about silence for silence's sake. It's about creating space for your own thoughts to breathe again. When you stop absorbing noise, you start hearing your own soul. The practice of returning. You will drift, you will forget. That's okay. The work is not in never wandering, it's in gently returning. Each time you notice your mind has scattered, invite it home. No judgment, just presence. This is mindfulness, not perfection, but the sacred rhythm of returning again and again to what is real. Power in the present. Attention is power. Wherever you place it, you are planting seeds. If you want a life of intention, focus on what is intentional. If you want peace, turn toward it. Again and again. Let the present moment be enough. Let it be the place you pour your light into. You are the gatekeeper. Ask yourself, softly, what am I feeding my mind today? Is this expanding my peace or shrinking it? Who or what has claimed my attention, and do they deserve it? You are not powerless. You are not a victim of modern chaos. You are the gatekeeper of your awareness, and with that power, you decide what gets your time, what gets your energy, what gets your heart. The life you shape. To reclaim your attention is to reclaim your power. Because when you no longer let the world tug your mind in every direction, you begin to shape your life instead of reacting to it. And in that space you find freedom, not just the freedom to focus, but the freedom to live fully and presently in your own sacred truth. Bonus lesson, turn resistance into acceptance. Life doesn't always move in straight lines. It bends, it breaks, it flows, and yet we, taught to control, to force, to fix, keep trying to shape the river with our bare hands. But rivers were never meant to be controlled. They were meant to be followed. And you were never meant to drown in resistance. You were meant to float in trust. The inner war, notice how often your suffering begins not with what's happening, but with your refusal to let it be. This shouldn't be happening. It's not supposed to be this way. These are the seeds of resistance. They bloom into frustration, anxiety, exhaustion. You think you're fighting the world. But really, you're fighting your own expectations. The way of water Buddhism teaches Whatever has the nature to arise has the nature to cease. No emotion, no hardship, no moment lasts forever. But when you resist, you grip the moment and drag it out. It stays, not because it must, but because you won't let it go. Imagine letting the current carry you, not because you're weak, but because you finally see. The water knows the way. What acceptance really means. Acceptance is not apathy, it's not giving up, it's giving in to what is, instead of endlessly arguing with it. It is the quiet courage to say, "This is happening, I don't have to like it, but I no longer have to fight it." From this place of surrender, clarity arises. You stop making war with reality and start making peace with your life. The weight you carry. Think of the pain you've been holding, a relationship that didn't go your way, a plan that fell apart, a version of yourself you're trying so hard to become. Each no to the present moment is a stone in your pocket. But the river doesn't ask you to carry those stones. It asks you to release them, to float, to trust, to breathe. The peace in letting go. Letting go is not a loss. It's a return to breath, to being, to the place inside you that never needed control to begin with. When you stop resisting, you make room for grace. Why you react to everything. Your reactions aren't rooted in others. They're rooted in your attachments. Every trigger is a mirror, not a threat. When you learn to observe your reactions instead of becoming them, you begin to unhook yourself from your old wounds. And in that stillness, freedom begins. Invisible traps of the mind. Most of us are trapped, not by reality, but by mental habits we've never questioned, needing approval, fearing judgment, grasping for control. Name your trap, break the spell. Freedom is a choice. Stop trying to fix everything. You don't need to. The act of releasing is often more powerful than the act of solving. Let go of the inner drama, the stories you spin, the battles you imagine. Watch them, yes, but don't become them. And in that sacred space of awareness, peace will rise like dawn. A new way to live. Stay open, even in pain. Don't close your heart when life gets hard. Openness is strength. Walls only isolate you from healing. Cut the rope of expectations. Let life be what it is, not what you demanded it to be. There's a softness on the other side of surrender, a gentle lightness, a breath you didn't know you were holding. The sacred shift. This is the shift. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness watching them. Detach, witness, breathe, and from that space, choose what truly matters. Simplicity is freedom. You don't need to do more. You need to do less, but with more presence. Let your life be rich, not in tasks, but in meaning. Do less, but do it with love, with focus, with depth. Final reflection. So ask yourself, what am I resisting right now? What pain am I clinging to, thinking it will protect me? What peace is waiting for me on the other side of surrender? Let go of the inner no. Welcome what is, not because it's easy, but because it's true. And when you do, you will no longer fight the flow of life. You will move with it. You will become it. And in that, you will be free. The quiet revolution of self-mastery. Most of us are unknowingly trapped in invisible cages, reacting, overthinking, pleasing others, and exhausting ourselves, chasing things that never truly feed our souls. But there is another way, a quieter path, one that doesn't shout for attention, but whispers with peace. That path begins the moment you stop trying to control everything and start mastering the only thing you can, yourself. When you stop caring about what doesn't truly matter, you begin living instead of merely surviving. You show up with presence. You listen more deeply. You breathe more easily. And slowly, the world loses its grip on you. The anxiety fades. The need to prove disappears. You stop dancing to someone else's music because you've remembered your own. Zen philosophy reminds us, when you let go of what you are, you become what you might be. To take control of your life is not to tighten your fists, but to soften your gaze, not to fix the world, but to clear the lens through which you see it. That's how transformation begins, not through force but through awareness. So take a breath, look within, and take your power back. Not by clinging harder, but by letting go of what weighs you down. You don't need to carry everything. You just need to carry what matters and leave the rest behind. This is the quiet revolution of self-mastery, because at the center of your being, you already hold the answer. You already know who you are. You already know what you want. The noise will pass, but your truth will remain. If this message resonated with you, drop a comment. Which part hit you the hardest today? Like and share it with someone who needs a breath of peace. And don't forget to subscribe to Insightful Journey for more life-changing Buddhist insights on how to live not just peacefully, but powerfully.